So let's draw a final curtain on Donald Trump's administration. That was done this week, just as another curtain was raised on the new Joe Biden government in the United States. My colleague, Andrew Schmertz, joins us now from New York to chat to the final trading day of an interesting week in January. Good afternoon, Andrew. President Biden has signed more executive orders, and these are aimed at food benefits, workers' rights, COVID-19 relief. Tell us about those and how are they impacting the markets today on Wall Street?
There are some fast-moving developments from the Biden administration today on the economic front. First up, Janet Yellen is expected to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate this afternoon. She would become Treasury Secretary and the first woman ever to hold that post. President Biden also signed a slew of economic and executive orders today targeting the economy. The chief economic advisor, Brian Deese, held a news conference, his first news conference that just wrapped up moments ago, that gave us a rundown of those executive orders. Biden is increasing the minimum wage to $15 for federal contract workers, though Deese could not answer how many federal contract workers are actually earning minimum wage. He's also rethinking the SNAP program. That is basically food stamps that go to the neediest of Americans. There's a report out that 10 to 15% of all Americans are food insecure. So he's asking for the formula to be retabulated to possibly get more SNAP money into the people who need it the most. On small businesses, he's asking the Small Business Administration to rethink how it's allocating the Payroll Protection Program money. This is the PPP second round of money, because a number of minority businesses were cut out the first time around for a number of reasons, and he wants to make sure minority small businesses get their fair share this time around. There's also a number of ambitious programs that the Biden administration has that he will need congressional support for. And to that aim, on Sunday, his economic team will be holding a conference call with both Democratic and Republican leaders of Congress to see where there's common ground, because the Biden administration is pushing through a $1.9 trillion third stimulus plan. Republicans are saying, hey, we just gave $900 billion. What do we need the $1.9 trillion for right now? The Biden administration's position is that $900 billion sort of gap filled over the last 6 months when there was no relief. And this money is looking forward, going forward. So we'll see how that kind of develops. On the Wall Street front, next week, 107 of the S&P 500 companies report earnings, including Apple, Chevron, and Verizon. So next week is going to be a busy week for politics in Washington, as well as what's going on Wall Street. So,
Andrew, is Bitcoin a burning train right now? Where does this stand? What we spoke about yesterday or 2 days ago was about folks that a coin losing about $100 billion US dollars, but it looks like the meltdown of that coin hasn't really stopped.
Yeah, this is a volatile trading market right now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin was off by as much as 17% this week. It has rallied a little bit today, up about 700 points or so, but it was down overall 17%. Number of factors possibly out there. The first is that the Biden administration has voiced support for regulating cryptocurrencies, and Janet Yellen said that in her testimony. That caused a shockwave through the markets. Also, there's a concern that this is a bubble, that cryptocurrency is nothing more than hot air, and that it's not really worth what it's out there trading for, and that it's a little bit of a bubble, so investors might have gotten spooked by that. Plus, there may be some profit taking. Bitcoin has had a tremendous run-up. It was close to $40,000 at one point. It slipped below $30,000. It's now trading above $30,000 again, but there may be a valuation question. And so Bitcoin, one of the more volatile stock plays right now out there, somewhat, maybe largely speculative.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure I can use Bitcoin to buy a new wine. So where do I get a new wine from? American Airlines? Is it in the skies in the plane? Or where at the counter? Check-in counter, wherever?
Yes. Well, And not at the check-in counter and not on board the plane. As you know, fewer and fewer people are flying. Traffic is down between 70 and 80%. So American Airlines got stuck with all of this wine that they serve on board, certainly for their business and first-class customers. So they are looking to sell it. They have created what's known as American Airlines Flagship Cellars. That's going to give customers a chance to buy the wine in the bottle in curated cases, whatever that means, for a monthly subscription fee of $99 a month. This wine would normally be sold in first and business class. It's the full bottles. It's not the little bottles that they serve back in coach. The full bottles.
Yes.
So you could enjoy pretending to fly, feeling pretty good about it because you're drinking wine, and not really go anywhere.
Yeah, just relax on the couch and put the legs up and have the wine and say, look at it. Might as well just say, okay, can I have another glass, please? May I? Okay.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. So while I have some wine, I could also have blockbuster movies. But it looks like this has got to wait a whole longer. And I just saw today that the new James Bond has been delayed once again. I'm unhappy about that.
Yeah, we'll start with this startling statistic. In 2019, the U.S. box office total was about $12 billion. It was $2 billion in 2020. And actually, I think that number is pretty high. Needless to say, it was all because of COVID. A number of theaters across the country in major cities have been shut down. New York and Los Angeles, which is where 20% of the box office earns that box office, has been closed for close to a year now. And so the theaters and the distributors are rethinking their plans. First up, the latest James Bond movie, No Time to Die, has been delayed again, this time until October. It was to be released in April. The first schedule was for it to be released last summer, now delayed until October. Also, Top Gun Maverick, the long-awaited sequel to the Top Gun movies, I think that was in the late 1980s, with Tom Cruise, has been delayed as well, along with Black Widow. F9, which is a movie from Universal, and all delayed. Warner Media released, of course, Wonder Woman 1984 on its own streaming service, HBO Max, earlier this year. And maybe other theaters or other movie chains, rather, are looking towards that model. But I think they really want the big money, which comes from people getting into the seats in movie theaters, and that's not going to happen probably until summer.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, because even in the UK says perhaps the lockdown is going to go all the way to summer. That's July, August or so. Then we're just wrapping up another year. That's what it all means. And if you get a movie titled...
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, not to die. I hope this movie doesn't die in production. I mean, that's the James Bond, by the way. Okay, let's leave it there for today. Andrew, see you on Monday.